Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my podcast, episode number 6. Now, just a little update. If you did want to listen to these while you're driving or not with YouTube open, I will have this one and all the ones after this uploaded on SoundCloud. So that will be available to you if you want to listen, and I will keep uploading them to YouTube as well. So, wherever you want to listen, that's perfectly cool with me. I will also eventually have them on like Spotify and stuff, but just probably not within the next few weeks. I'm kind of happy just doing it as a YouTube podcast for now. So today I wanted to talk about moving out of home and my experience living in Byron Bay, the positives, the negatives, plus a little mini kind of Byron Bay guide and some of my favorite places, because I know a lot of people want to move out of home or they're interested in living away from home. And I also know a lot of people are interested in Byron Bay because it is Australia's #1 kind of tourist destination. It's this very beachy, beautiful place that a lot of people love, and I always get questions from like my friends or whatever about living there and how beautiful it looks and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to give my kind of experience throughout the whole moving out of home thing and also living there, and then at the end I'll give you guys some of my favorite spots and places in Byron because there are so many, and I have my own little guide and places that I just love to go to. But before we get into that, at the start of these podcasts I've been sharing with you guys some of the tips and the takeaways that I'm getting from the books that I'm reading at the moment, because as you know, I'm really working on myself and trying to kind of just evolve and become my best version, and I'm reading this book called Harmonic Wealth, which is amazing. So I've been like just obsessed with learning at the moment, and I want to share with you some of the things that they've been talking about in that book that I've read over the past day. So the first one is that you need to have your thoughts and your feelings and your actions to kind of manifest anything. And so this guy who wrote Harmonic Wealth talks about it being 3 for 3. So you've got to have all of those 3 things to be able to kind of bring anything into your life. And I feel like with me, one of the main issues that I have is I have my thoughts and I have my feelings, and I'm so good at visualizing and affirming things, and it's so vivid in my head, but I find it hard to like actually take the action, and bringing it into the physical world is something that I struggle with the most, because I'm like, if it's not perfect, it's not exactly what I want it to be, it doesn't look like I want it to look like in X amount of time, in a year's time, it's not my ideal final result. So then I end up not taking that action, and I feel like that's what's missing for me in my manifesting, especially like even with this podcast. Like I just would think to myself, why even do it if I don't have my camera set up or if I can't have the perfect background? But obviously taking those action steps is like such a key to actually manifesting. So that was a really important takeaway for me to have. It's to just realize that taking action is so important, and you can do all the visualizing and manifesting that you want, but if you're not taking daily action, then you're not really going to get anywhere, are you? You might feel a little bit better, but you're not going to be kind of moving towards and gaining that momentum towards your goals, because once you have the momentum, you figure things out, things improve, it's easier to pivot once you're going and you have that. So that's my little tip of the day for you guys. If you want to be moving towards something, just make sure that you're taking daily action. And to take daily action, they talk about doing 6 action items. So every day, write down the top 6 things that you need to do that bring you towards your intention. And if you don't get them all done, then like say you get up to number 5, the number 6 on that day becomes number 1 tomorrow, and you just have to keep plowing through these 6 daily actions, and that's really what helps you get towards your goals so much quicker. So yeah, such a sick book. I recommend it to everyone. I'm going to give it to my best friend soon after I finish reading it, because I really want her to read it. I'm going to make my sister read it, my mom, everyone. It's just amazing. So now moving on to the moving out. Moving on to the moving out of home. So I kind of wanted to give you guys a bit of my experience. So literally from the time I was like 15, all I wanted to do was move out of home. I was so excited to have my own house. It's all I could think about. I wanted my own apartment. I wanted a place where I could decorate and I could cook my own food. And it was just something that I was so excited about and that I constantly thought about. And especially when I became older, like 18, 19, 20, 21, because that was kind of more possible and I felt like an adult, it made me kind of hate living at home so much. And I feel like I took my family for granted a lot and my relationships with my family. And I didn't appreciate the fact that I was getting a roof over my head and food. And, my mum is such an amazing, healthy, delicious cook. So I wouldn't appreciate that she would make us delicious food, or I wouldn't appreciate that I have a really comfortable bed and I don't have to pay rent. And once you move out of home, you don't get to wake up and see your mum and dad every day. You don't get to have those connections. And although that sounds really lame, I will never take that for granted ever again. And I will never take my relationship with my family for granted, because family is just so important, and being close to your family is something that I took advantage of. And now I've kind of learnt that lesson from being away, because I did move out of home into a different state. So I was literally so far away from my family and friends. And that's something that I really realized. So if you are constantly dreaming about moving out of home, that's amazing. It is so fun, but still do not, skip over the fact that you have a lot of things for free. You're so close to the people that you love. And I wish when I was younger, I kind of just appreciated that more. But I guess it's one of those things that you can't really appreciate it until it's gone. Lol, like a lot of things in life. But I'm trying to appreciate things while we have them. So when I was 22, I moved out of home and I moved back to Byron. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've been living kind of in between Byron and Melbourne for a while. But this time I fully moved out of home, got my name on a lease, and was living in an apartment with my sister. Now, we both moved to Byron together, which was kind of better than last time because I had someone else with me. So we were kind of together when we were making friends, or if, we didn't have anyone to hang out with when we first moved there, we could be with each other. And the reason why I moved was because I ended up getting a really good job opportunity, which you guys probably have heard about throughout my podcast. I will have all the other episodes linked below if you haven't listened. But anyway, I got a good job opportunity and I was like, look, I'm keen, I want to move back to Byron. So I did. Now, when I had those thoughts, I forgot about all the reasons why I left Byron last time, and I basically just looked at it through rose-colored glasses, wanted to move back without remembering all the difficult parts and the reason why I actually moved away. Because the first time I left Byron, I was like, fuck this place, I hate it so much, I'm never coming back. And then, a year later, I moved back. So life, it's very easy not to learn life's lessons if you look back on the past with rose-colored glasses, because you think that everything was better than it was in the moment. I feel like I do that with so many things. I always look back and see the best of the past, and that kind of enables me to remake my mistakes again because I don't remember them. I remember all the good parts. So I guess that's a positive and a negative, because I'm always remembering the past as, such a good time, but yeah, it's not always good when making analytical decisions. So we moved back to Byron, and at the start, I'm loving my job and I'm kind of loving just being in a slower paced environment. It is so beautiful. The nature is so great. So if you're wanting to reconnect with yourself, I find it to be such a nice, quiet place, because you've got huge, amazing long beaches, you've got sunsets, there's a lot of spiritual people who want to talk about spirituality and meditation, and there's a lot of people that are into photography and Instagram, and those are a lot of the things that I'm into. So it's awesome to have so many people around you who are into so many of the same things. That's definitely a positive about Byron. The whole area also has some of the most amazing fresh food. Farmers markets, you'll have the best sweet potatoes and pumpkins you've ever tried, the best bananas. It's just the food and the fresh food from the markets and all the health food stores over there is just nothing else. Seriously, this is because I'm such a foodie, it's such a big thing for me that you can just get the best food ever. I love going into all the health food stores because it is quite an alternative hippie town. So there's always a new health food product and something being manufactured in Byron that is just delicious and amazing. So that is a definite plus the weather and the nature and the people is all so great. So when we first moved there, obviously you've just got into a new environment, there's a lot of fresh energy and you're noticing all of those positive things. Now, as time went on, I started to feel more and more isolated, because the thing about Byron is it is a small country town, and it's far away from places. If you want to get to the nearest city, which is the Gold Coast, which, I'm not the biggest fan of the Gold Coast anyway, but if you want to get to the nearest city, it's like an hour away. There are lots of other small towns, but they're all kind of that country town vibe. And after a while, that started to give me anxiety, which is exactly what happened to me last time, because I'm like, wow, I can't just go and do something in the city. It's not close. So that is one definite negative about living in a small town. And even though Byron, it's not your typical country town where there's nothing going on, because it is such a tourist place and there is some things going on, but that being said, it is still far away from a lot of things. And there's a lot of things that aren't there that are in the cities, such as cool events. Like, as you guys know, I love house music and deep house music, and that's not something that you can really get a lot of DJs playing in Byron, or not the ones that I specifically like. There's not always a new restaurant opening. There's not always a new event. Those fast-paced things about the city is what I ended up really missing as well. And another negative is that it is a tourist town and it is very transient. And like me, I've come in and out of there. A lot of people do the same, because Byron is a place that draws people there that kind of need healing. So I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but the whole underneath of Byron Bay is actually made up of 2 different types of crystals. So one of the crystal is something that brings everything up to the surface, and then the other one is one that amplifies everything. So I know this sounds like freaking so, everything I talk about in this podcast sounds like I'm just like some spiritual white girl, but that's actually true. I've talked to an Aboriginal kind of elder, and she said that the Aboriginals, really realized this power and the pull of Byron, and they actually never lived there. They always used it as a place of passing through, which I thought was so interesting, because I don't know if you've ever been to Byron, but living there has the most intense energy. Like, if you're having a bad day, you're probably having the worst fucking day of your life and you want to die. And if you're having a good day, you're having the best day ever. So as I was saying, it is a transient town, which means that people like me come and go a lot, which means that you could be having a really good friendship with someone and then they end up moving back to another country, because a lot of people from different countries do come to Byron and visit Byron. So yeah, you might have a really good friendship with someone and then they end up leaving, or you might have a great group of friends and then that kind of dismantles as everyone goes their separate ways, and then you create a new group of friends and then that kind of dismantles. So in terms of friendships and stuff, people are moving around a lot. There are obviously people that stay in Byron, but that has been my experience. Is I have met some of the most amazing people, but they've been from England and different places, and then we all end up moving around and still stay in contact, but not kind of have that friendship like I have at home. I think the other thing is it made me not take for granted the people that I have around me at home that have been my friend literally for like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus years. I feel like I'm really lucky in Melbourne, my hometown. I have some friends that I have had through everything, through thick and thin. They've seen the worst parts of me, the worst sides of me. They've still stayed my friends, and we will be friends forever. And I feel like I'm so blessed to have those people in my life, and I will never take that for granted again. So that's another thing. If you're going to move states, I feel like it just teaches you what's important, because when things are taken away, your family, your close friends, it reminds you that those people are so important. So I do feel very blessed to have friends like that. These close friends aren't every single one of my friends. Not all of your friends need to be the best and the people that have been there for you through everything. But I do think it's so important to have a handful, 3 or 4, or 2 or 3, that's enough of the people who really see you and love you for you no matter what. So yeah, that is just something that I appreciate and I miss so much when I'm not in Melbourne around those people, because I think those people are the ones that really ground me, and the people that I know will love me for me, not for what I'm doing or anything else that's kind of going on in life. Okay, so I've been going on so many tangents today, but another kind of negative about Byron is how expensive it is. So Byron Bay is one of the most expensive places in Australia to buy a house, because it is such a sought after location, but also such a small town. So there's only a certain amount of land there. So if you own a piece of that land, it's very valuable, meaning that it's very expensive to purchase a home. And because it is such a small place but so busy, that does mean that it's so difficult to get around in summer or in periods where there are more people on holidays, because it can take you like up to 45 minutes for what would usually take you a 10-minute drive. So that is some of the negatives. Now, I really don't want to harp on about all the things that suck about Byron. Why it's not really right for me, I don't think, is because my energy just doesn't quite match with Byron's energy. I prefer to be in a city which is a little bit more busy, a bit more stuff going on, and I feel like my energy just fits better with the energy of Melbourne. And I also really want to be around my close friends and family, because as I said, I've realized how important this is to me. And that doesn't mean that I will always live in Melbourne, but I feel like from now on I will always kind of have a house or a base in my hometown, because I've realized how important that is to me. Now, the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because through photos and through Instagram and stuff, Byron Bay looks like serious paradise, and even my life looks so perfect and incredible online in terms of Instagram and stuff, because the thing about Byron is it is beautiful in terms of nature, as I said. So it's so easy to go out and take such a pretty photo, like it's so aesthetic. And so many people message me, or my friends say, your life looks perfect. It is seriously so dreamy. It is amazing. And I just wanted to talk about the pluses and minuses, because so many people tell me, oh my God, I'm moving to Byron, but not everything is as it seems on social media. And obviously we all know this, but I just think it's good to be reminded, because for real, the last few months have been some of the toughest of my life, and no one would know that if they looked at my Instagram. And for me, why Instagram is such a highlight reel is because it's my creative outlet. And the first thing that leaves me when I'm having a bad time is my creativity. I find it so hard to work, to take photos, to be inspired. If I'm in a negative mindset, that's the first thing that will go. I know other people might feel super creative when they're having a bad time. Like some people write songs and music and all that kind of stuff when they're upset. But for me, I just can't. I just don't want to do anything to do with creativity or working or photos or anything like that. So now you can see how something that looks so amazing and so perfect isn't necessarily that way. And even though visiting Byron and going there for a holiday is so amazing, it's not the same when you live there. And I get so caught up in Instagram and other people's lives, and I look at wherever they are, and I think, oh my gosh, that looks amazing. I want to go to New York. I want to live in New York. I want to go to Melbourne. And I'm always looking at Instagram and seeing how amazing the places are and thinking that I want to live there. But I think for all of us to just be reminded that living in a place isn't the same as the photos you see online, and everyone goes through their struggles, whether they show it on social media or not. One of my goals is to be more vulnerable online and share some of my downsides and the things that really get to me, and my experience with anxiety and depression. And I have to try and push through that barrier of not wanting to talk about that, because to me, creativity and sharing is such a positive thing that I never want to bring that negative into it. But I think there's definitely a balance. So that's one of my goals at the moment, and that's why I'm bringing up this whole pluses and minuses of Byron thing, just to remind you that everything is not what you see on Instagram, and never be persuaded to do something because of Instagram. Like, have you ever seen somewhere amazing, someone's traveling in Greece or something, and you're like, oh, I just want to go there because I saw it on Instagram? Because it's never the exact same way. It's never exactly what you would hope. Or as soon as you get there, you're going to see someone else's Instagram for a different place, and then you're going to be thinking about going there. If you want to go somewhere, want to go because you want to go there. You want to experience it. You want to meet people. You want to try the food, not for Instagram and photos or because of them, because it's just always going to be empty. And I never want anyone to look at any photo that I take and want to move to Byron or want to go to Byron just because of that. I mean, you can want to visit and experience it, but you know what I mean? You don't want to base your life around these little photos on Instagram, because what they really are is tiny little pixels of light. So we all need to be reminded that that is literally what Instagram is. I need to be reminded that the most, because I feel like I get so caught up in what other people are doing and where they are, and I always want to copycat or try it out for myself. So everything that I'm ever talking about on this podcast is literally a lesson that I've learned or mistakes that I've made or something that I'm working through. So it's never that I'm saying, oh my God, don't do this, don't live your life by Instagram. It's more like I do this so much and it leaves me feeling empty. So this is a conversation that I'm starting so that other people might not feel the same or could maybe see a different side. Alrighty, so there we have a little wrap up on Instagram, moving out of home, living in Byron, all those questions and ideas that I wanted to talk about. So now I want to talk about the good stuff and tell you guys some of my favorite places in Byron for breakfast, things to do, just in case you are visiting. As I said, it's not a horrible place, it's not negative, that was my experience. But some people move to Byron and live there forever and love it, and it is their place and it vibes with their energy. That is not the case for me, but I still think that there is a place for everyone. So if you don't know where you fit in, where you belong, just know that there is definitely a place out there for you where you are going to thrive and be so at home and so happy. And that's what I told myself when I felt like I'd failed because I'd moved to this place and realized that it wasn't working for me. I honestly felt like such a failure, but that wasn't the case. It's just not my place. That doesn't mean that I wasted my time or that it's not the right thing. It's just a trial and error, and everything is a learning opportunity and a time to grow and become a better person, which is definitely what I feel like I've done over the past year or so, going through more difficult times. Now, I'm rambling so much today. I'm in such a chatty mood, but let's get on to the places in Byron. So, my number one tip is the Roadhouse. If you go to Byron, you have to go to the Roadhouse for breakfast or dinner. Now, I'm pretty sure it used to only be open Monday through Saturday, but it's now open on Sundays, I think. But it's a bit of a local spot. It's a bit further out of town. You might have to maps it, or you might need a bike or a car if you're staying in town. But it is the best. They have the most amazing pizzas, literally mushroom and cheese pizza, I think it is. Just get it and thank me later because it's heaven on this earth. Like, it's genuinely the best. They have like a wood fire oven and it's known for the pizzas. All the locals and all my friends always used to go there for pizzas on a Friday night. So the Roadhouse is amazing. They also have really good like pumpkin and eggs and a really few good breakfasts. I think my favorite was Ginny's Bowl. So head to the Roadhouse and you will not be sorry. I also love Bay Leaf Cafe, which is just a delicious, yummy, busy cafe. So you might have to go there very early if you want to get breakfast and not have to wait for too long. I would literally, if you want to go to Bay Leaf, wake up and go straight there. Just wake up, put clothes on and walk there. Don't go to the beach first or go for a walk or get a coffee because it will just get harder and harder to get into. So you want to try and get there at like 7 or whenever they open. And they have amazing egg dishes like scrambled eggs, coffees. It's to me more of a savory place, but it's just so good. So they're my two probably favorite places in Byron for brekkie. But I also love Combi, which they do have one in Melbourne as well. That's more of like a smoothie bar, acai bowls, avocado toast kind of place. It's also so delicious. I'm not the biggest fan of, dare I say, acai bowls and stuff. I do like it sometimes, but it's not my favorite. Like, I'd prefer to have eggs, but I do love going there for their coffee. They have organic coffee. It is insane. They make their own almond milk, and I always get an iced almond milk latte with homemade almond milk. It's freaking divine. It's amazing. So Combi is great for that, and they also have really good raw caramel slice. So for me, I love going to Combi after the beach in the afternoon, getting a coffee and a sweet treat, or they also have really good cakes, stuff like that. And it's all sugar-free and vegan, and you know the drill. The Byron shit. Another good place for a smoothie is the Pressed Pantry. They also do takeaway salads, which is something that I've been wanting in Byron for so long because it's such a random thing, but you can't get a good takeaway salad, you know, like made the way that you want. Whereas at the Pressed Pantry, you can. They're just green and yummy, and you can take away in a cardboard box, which is great for taking to the beach. It's also super close to the beach, so if you want to go to the Pressed Pantry, pick up some salads. They also have acai bowls and stuff there, and that is a great little spot. Now, for a cool place to go to dinner, I love Light Years. It's got a very kind of city vibe. They're playing cool music and it's Asian food. It's delicious. They have amazing curries from memory. Curries are the best thing, and they have the best cocktails. Oh my God. Me and my best friend went there and had like a million cocktails when she came to visit me, and it was the best thing ever. My favorite beach is Watergoes Beach, which you might also need a car to get to, but you can walk there. It's just a little bit of a hike. Obviously, the lighthouse walk is beautiful. It's even better at sunrise if you can wake up really, really early and hike that as the sun is coming up. It's amazing. My favorite place to go for a drink is actually Brunswick Heads and the Brunswick Heads Hotel. So you also might need a car for that. It's maybe like 15 minutes out of Byron, but it's such a nice pub. It's got fairy lights all over the roof and everyone is just having the best time, and really it's just a fun vibe. I love it there. The farmers markets in Byron are on Thursday mornings, and if you are there on a Thursday morning, please go and get sugarcane juice, and they have breakfast. They also have so much fresh food. It isn't cheap, but it's worth it. If you're going to stay for the week, go and get some amazing bananas and sweet potatoes and just yummy fresh food. It's also just cool to experience, especially if you're not from there. It's cool to see all the people that literally grow the food a few kilometers away, and it's all just organic and delicious. So it's just a fun experience, and usually there's people busking, and I just love going to the markets just for fun, even if I'm not getting anything, because it's just relaxing and it's a nice vibe. So those are my tips and favorite places to go and things to do around Byron. If you have any other questions, then just DM me on Instagram. I will always look at my DMs and answer as many as I can. I don't get that many that I can't answer, so just DM me and I will chat to you. I hope this podcast episode was interesting. I don't know if it was, so let me know in the comments if you liked it, and make sure to give this video a like if you are listening on YouTube, because you can't really, I guess you can like it on SoundCloud, but yeah, I just wanted to open up the conversation about moving out of home, feeling like you don't belong anywhere, which is how I feel, especially when I'm not in my family home, because I'm like, I don't belong there anymore because I'm an adult, but I don't feel like I belong anywhere in the world on my own either. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you tomorrow for the next episode. Bye.